Good morning.
All right, can you race that board for your team, bro? Please. What? Can you help me race it for your squad?
Man, I'm coming in here to get set up. You got me working. We were supposed to get this all set up like 15 minutes ago. Where's the white thing at? Or the wiper?
Hey. Well, sorry, let's keep one. One minute. Good, thank you. Appreciate you.
Put it out.
Should we use the light or no?
No.
It's probably look better without it.
But that's just up to you. It might not. It might look better without the light.
Coffee talk.
Or wait, excuse me. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Morning Sells Coffee featuring Dash.
Oh shit.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you. What's up, Casey?
I can't hear you.
Hello, hello.
Where's Drew when you need him? Hey.
All right, let's make this a little bit better here. Where's the
There's this thing. Here we go. We'll use this.
Justin Herbert. Today ties a single game pass.
I got to turn that over. All right. Can you guys hear?
Yeah.
Loud and clear. Awesome. We'll give it a sec, see who else we have coming in here.
Can I get one of those Favitas? I might have one.
Might use the board. Hopefully you guys got some questions. I have some stuff to go over with you for today. Welcome, Christina, Javier, Amanda. We got sales coffee. I got my coffee right here. He got a bang. Wow, that's early for that.
I'm sorry, I'm in a rush. I'm in a meeting, okay? Sorry. Accident.
You guys want to mute up? Unless you have a question, hop in. We got Marissa. Just stay here. Let people in. Welcome. Christina, you're killing it. Great job. Great job.
Yeah.
You too, Faith, Marquise, Matt. You guys are all killing it.
Just kidding.
Amanda, Faith. Coffee talk. I feel like we're going on the talk show today.
Are you doing sales coffee today, Casey?
I'm not just having my coffee with you. We're doing sales coffee today.
Yeah.
We're having coffee and we're doing coffee.
Oh yeah. I'm making mine right
So
now.
hopefully you have some questions.
I'm just joking. Okay, coffee every day.
I can't really hear you guys too well when you talk. So when you ask a question, hopefully you guys can speak up. I think it's coming on the TV over here.
Yeah, if you hit the volume, it should.
We got some late arrivals. Better late than never. Come on. Here, you need a chair?
Well, there's an outlet right by Casey. But...
Go for it.
Well, there's one over here, Mark.
I'll have it recording too, so.
Oh, true.
Get some coffee going. You got your Bob Evans coffee, McDonald's.
Good run about that.
We got the homemade. Should we shut the door?
Shit.
Anybody else coming?
We got to say, Casey, give us your sauce.
Well, hopefully you guys have some questions. I asked Marissa, she's on here, to go over, what I should go over, with you guys. I talked to Tommy. He wanted me to touch on the hour power versus the $3 to $5 question. Okay. Which I'll go over pretty much the stuff that's working for me, that makes it simple. Where you can do the hour power, and especially when you're teaching other people and growing a team, I love the hour power. It's just it's amazing. You guys know the 2-job. Maybe we were thinking we could get somebody to, you could do it on the board. That's what's great about it. She wanted me to run through. I know Tommy has gone through it. In the company overview, it's what's pretty much has sold the deal for the past. Oh, we gotta let people in. Rich, my man, the report. Rich, my man, the report king. He made lifelong best friends in like 5 minutes with this guy last night. That was amazing. Give it up for my man, Rich. He's connected to the audio. Putting in big work. Someone's calling me. Kristen's calling me. Hey, run the sales coffee workshop. I'm gonna call you back. All right, bye. Anybody else joining us? I thought she said, I didn't get the link. It's in the grouping. Okay. No more distractions. Hour power versus the $3 to $5 question. I love, honestly, the $3 to $5 question and showing them 5%, which has just been working really, really nice for me. Showing them 5%, which is a great number, and most people that have been, agreeing to that. I've had the price, and what's great. I do that a lot of times during the needs analysis. They're saying $3,500 a month take home pay. I'll kind of pitch the $3 to $5 question that everybody knows, right? So for every $3 to $5 that you guys bring home, would it drastically change your guys' lifestyle if you just set that $3 to $5 aside? And then as I'm doing that, I do the math. So 3,500, right, my calculator, times 0.05, and I'll show them. And a lot of times you get the agreement, right then and there. And then if you ever would have any, hesitation there, no worries, because they have programs for half of that, or you can just go right to the 3%. If you ever would, kind of get that price objection. But that's just kind of getting right to it. But we'll touch on assuming the sale, which is with a lot of new agents that, or agents that have been here, just juggling everything, getting right to the application and not losing momentum. Momentum's huge on Zoom and in person. Now, if you come in and stop your presentation, that's why we teach our agents to memorize the 4 medical questions, be able to say those smooth, like you memorize them, and be able to get through all the other medical questions, not having any kind of hiccups, kind of getting through those clearly, making sure you're detailed and asking them so they're not hearing you and you're getting a decline on an application, because that's the worst thing. We can never fix a decline on medical questions. So, getting through that, the national recommendation, is huge. Making sure that you're planting seeds throughout the presentation, whether we're talking about in the family information guide in the beginning, small seeds where most of the members that we're seeing do have X amount, 50 to 100 of permanent guarantee coverage, just kind of throwing that in there subtly. That was an old James Kiefer tip, to where we would plant those seeds throughout the presentation. That way, when it comes down to it, kind of like selling in non-selling areas. The perfect example of that, selling in a non-selling area, which is huge. Whether you're talking about the AD&D certificate, whether we're talking about the $2,000 AD&D to be able to sponsor, and I know it's not a whole lot of money, $3,000 or $4,000 or $2,000, whether we're talking about a hard card or a sponsor. But Joe and Mary, when something happens to Mary or Joe, when something happens to you, every penny makes all the difference in the world for Mary and these kids. And that plants a great seed. And they're like, wow, you're exactly right. And I'll say, won't take care of half of the cremation or all the services, like small seeds like that, throwing that into the presentation during the AD&D. That way we're adding value to something that some people might be like, oh, what am I gonna do with that? Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
And you're building it up and you're adding value to it. So that's something that's pretty important, you know, getting through the presentation, planting seeds, and then we'll go over the hour power. Obviously, you guys know the hour power, and that's with most presentations. Okay, you don't know the hour power? Okay, good. Oh, that's great, because I feel like everyone knows this stuff. Stop me if you have any questions. Like, hey, we'll go over that again, or hey, talk about this, because I don't know like where you guys are, like education level. Every single person is. Some of you guys might have dug into Air East University and listened to Zach Hart and Simon and Tommy and Gio and all everybody that's in on all the resource center. But you know, memorizing that, there was a 20-minute on the key for success, that like a 20-minute like Zach Hart clip, or that was one clip I always remember that always got me fired up. Talks about being a top producer in the company, talks about me and you know, Kiefer and I used to listen to that, you know, all the time back in the field. Quick 20-minute on the key for success, like, you know, videos like that, to where he talks about those closes that are in a lot of some of your guys' script already came from that 20-minute video. What's the most important thing to you in your life? Joe Murray, you know, these guys right here. Let me ask you, what are they worth to you? Prices. Can't put a price tag on mom and dad, but small price for protecting them. Now, let me ask you, Joe Mary, when is the most important time to start protecting the wife and kids? Pretty much yesterday. You guys know that one, right? That's you know, obviously one of the best. You know, Zach Hart closes to where you show the proposal. They told you which one stuck out to them, which one they like best. All these things throughout the presentation. Then you just hit them with something like that, and then the takeaway. The main thing is see if you can even qualify, because there always has to be a takeaway. Am I making sense to you guys?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. And then you can assume the sale, and that's what I was usually pretty good at in the home, was just going through it. Like, that's what we do. We enroll members into their benefits. You know, we go through the application, go through the medical questions, going through the presentation, especially on a book schedule. We're very busy, important, and control, like on your phone script. And when your schedule's booked, we really are very busy, important, and in control. So it has to make sure that you're getting through it, whether it be at a good pace, to where if you have a book schedule of 8 to 10 clients, you know, you really are believable. We say we are completely booked and swamped, because we are. Sometimes a little bit different when you have 2 appointments to come off as, you know, completely booked. And, you know, you never want to come off as, hey, I'm completely open, I have all the time of the day. Or especially booking on the phone, yeah, I'm completely open, Joe, what time's good for you? Obviously, you're never going to do that. You're going to tell them we are booked up, and we're seems like we're always behind because we work with so many different groups. And add the referrals in there is just going to increase everyone's odds. Like Natalie went over some great stuff, you know, in that workshop, you know, that she went over, you know, in terms of, you know, referrals, guys. The numbers she went over, 900. Our agency's over 1,000. So when we're incorporating the referrals into running the system with the leads and, you know, the union benefits, that niche, something that stuck out to me that she had, and this is basically like the referral system. Like, I don't know, I got to find out. I want to ask Tommy if she was trained by like Marcus and Simon, where Simon came from, because back in whenever Tommy and I were training, this was some of the stuff that was, you know, in the referral script, to where building it up, since we're 100% union, can't come back because we would miss a family for the first time. Getting that, she handles that on a referral right in the beginning. You know, she builds that credibility that we are completely booked up. Typically, we're contracted with so many different groups that you wouldn't have access to these benefits. So building up the credibility, building up the company, you know, that's something that is really, you know, important in terms of referrals. And running the numbers, if our numbers are 1,200 ALP per enrollment per sale, and these numbers were based off of 900, you know, so, you know, referrals, we're going to be getting twice the result off the same amount of work and think about the calling when they're getting booked for you. You know, that's just something that was, you know, great with the referral portion that she, you know, that Natalie went over. What else did I have? Oh, yeah, make sure you call and thank Tommy. If it wasn't for Tommy, you know, you wouldn't have access to these programs. So that just adds a different level of, you know, exclusiveness from the beginning. Lucky you for a limited time if you can qualify. Those were a lot of the 3 catches with the referrals that I always taught everybody in the beginning. She had what was exclusive. You know, lucky you, Joe. For a limited time, she was able to sponsor you to get into these. Make sure you call and thank Amanda for sponsoring you, or Christina. Make sure you give them a call and thank them. You know, getting that stuff handled from the beginning, because it sets the stage for you, and it sets the stage for, look, I can only come out only once unless you're a member or policy holder with us. So that's something when I was running referrals, I guaranteed I always had a sale, because I built it up so much that make sure you thank Steven Spider-Man Ellis for sponsoring you in these, because if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have access to these. And lucky you, just for this limited time, he was able to sponsor you to get these union benefits. Do you believe it, Faith? I don't. This is insane. So make sure you might have to invite me to Christmas dinner this year, because this is amazing. We're able to get this out to you. Call me over for Christmas. You know, since you're not with the union, I can't come back. So she was able to get these units typically about 30% off the open market, get you the national recommendation. This is unbelievable. So handling those from the beginning, building the credibility, building it up, and then you're getting into who we are. You know, that's just on referrals. That's just going to be amazing. Okay, before we get into what we had set up for you guys today, that's exactly why I had it set up this way. Okay. Any other questions on that stuff? You guys good out there? Make sure you guys are entering referrals into the impact, because that's something, don't make that mistake I made before, to where you're calling them on a sheet of paper or losing sheets of paper that would have been a lot of great sales for you, or you had a piece of paper in the back of your car because you were in home and you had 10 great referrals and they just like flew out of your window.
How do you add them?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Add them in your impact.
You mean like at the end of the presentation where they're like sponsor?
Exactly, yeah.
What?
Sponsors at the help tab, make sure you guys are doing this. It says sponsors, add, and then you have all that information, especially if you're training with somebody, that person can do it for you at the end. And then make sure you do an online update, and they go right into your impact leads.
What? Is that, will someone else get them though?
No,
Oh.
no one will get your referrals. They're staying there
So those stay in your impact for like ever.
for life. Yeah, and I'm the one that handles all the leads, and I make sure they're staying there for you. So
Okay.
when Tommy, whenever we get new leads, we make sure the referrals stay in there. And that's why if you ever, on a lead day, if maybe we're getting all the new leads out and distributed, new leads coming in, always have those referrals in there. It just makes it a lot easier than having to worry about, okay, what's his email or what's his number? It's all on the schedule on the impact, especially if you're training with 3 or 4 other people. In the comments, we always have to have the email on there, because that's how we mostly do our presentations now on Zoom. So make sure when we're setting discount cards, the email is in there. That way you guys can communicate that. And if they're not in the impact, they don't count for your calling numbers. So we want to get a lot of referrals into each of our impacts, so they boost your numbers, and it's a lot easier. So yeah, referrals and the impact keeps you way more organized.
Wait, where you say you go to the help tab?
Right on your e-app,
Oh, it's on e-app. Okay.
it's in your e-app, at the top, it's sponsors, referrals, add. And then you'll add them just like you would in the middle of the presentation, but a lot of times it's what I want to talk about next. It's having that stuff queued up, because if you're filling out the needs analysis, it's you lose so much sales momentum that, you know, you might lose them. So we have to have that a lot of times queued up, especially to just make sure we're not losing their attention span. So where it's not loading, you're not having to update the e-app before you log in, and the client's sitting there like looking out the window like, geez, buddy, how long is this gonna take? I thought you said it was a couple minutes. You know, you want to keep their attention the whole time, and having everything queued up as much as possible, the PowerPoint that you're using, your board, that, you know, having all that stuff be able to keep their attention, you know, go in and out, you know, jump around a bit, you know, whatever we have to do to make sure that they're not looking out the window or doing the dishes. We had a lady yesterday, she was like cooking dinner. She's like, okay. I'm like, what? Her husband worked for AIL 3.5 years ago. So she was like, thought she like knew everything. They still had AIL, which was great. We didn't really know they had AIL. So it was last night. So we rescheduled them. I'm going to go over it. I'm like, hey, I want to potentially try to see if he wants to come back virtually. This guy, he worked in Indiana.
Nice.
So he did it about 3.5 years ago. They still haven't coverage. So I'm going to go over their situation with them and I flipped it, maybe recruit them. So every person can be a great lead for you, whether it be someone that can help grow your team and help your business, or and help serve more clients, or someone that's going to, you know, maybe send us off that we can help more people enroll them into the programs. Oh yeah, having that queued up, making sure that obviously that never would do an online update before. It's happened to me though, so just double check those things before you get started.
Hey Casey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Quick question. So do you have to put in the referrals while you have that particular person's like app, or can you do it afterwards?
Yeah, you can do it afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it afterwards, and it'll have each person. So you'll just have this separate. You'll be able to click at the top, add the notes. I like to have the notes on there at the bottom as detailed as I can. Okay, 3 child safety kids, works with him. You know, it's not hard to type it in there. Or if you're writing them down, take those notes on there. That way, when you're entering them, you know, you have everything there. It can be challenging to read my own handwriting sometimes with that entering in. So I actually like, if I do have a lot of time, like let's say it's my last appointment of the night and they're really into it, and sometimes I'll just have it queued up, or if I didn't have the needs analysis already filled out, I will stop right before the needs analysis and have the referrals up in front of the client, and they'll go through to help me with 10 if I have really good rapport with them and they're like all about the referral portion and they want to give you 10 people, because they'll be able to see it and help you through that. But if you're more crunched for time, like a lot of times I am, and I want to add them, I love having them in front of them, but a lot of times I have to have the needs analysis pulled up just for time. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah. I have a question too, though. I feel like a lot of people don't know like their like sister's address. Like I know this one lady, she was like, I know.
You don't need the address.
Oh.
I never put the address. Sometimes the address auto populates for you. That's what's great about referrals and impact. Isn't that insane? The address automatically populates for you. Isn't that great? Yeah. What do I mean? It's
how do you know though?
because it happens to me all the time.
So they just know the person's name?
They just look it up in the system. Don't even worry. They look it up in the system with the bills, and yeah, they find it for us. It's in the postal. I forget what it's called.
I want to do that because I just lost a referral sheet. I'm so
Yeah.
pissed. I'm so mad.
Addresses, apartment numbers, they'll all pop up right in your impact already, and you can verify that, and it makes you look a lot better when you're calling a referral, right?
Yeah.
And say, hey, they got you into these union benefits. You're like, I don't even know how I got my sister's benefits. This is amazing. You guys see how great referrals are?
Yeah.
So you should have 30 to 60 every week in your impact. I do. You guys aren't. You're losing out. Typically, yeah, I really do. Not just saying it. It helps because even training these guys too, it's a lot, sometimes can be a lot easier for a new agent to sit with a referral that they sold their brother. You know what I mean? And they know about them. It's easier to build rapport, which is huge. I'm sometimes too fast to where Rich sat down and built the best rapport last night, Rich. That was huge. Made a best friend with this guy talking about dogs. People love their dogs, right, Marissa? She loves her dog. If you have a dog, I'm sure you love your dog. If you sit with a client, they probably love their dog. So that's a good thing. And he was talking about their dogs, and I was in and out. We had Mason come in, he's moving here. So I was jumping in and out. Rich is closing the deal. That was fun. I was able to help him through the EAP, which is definitely, we're definitely going to be able to close a lot more for Rich. Super pumped. So, all right, what time is it? Okay, we got to go pretty good on time here. So, what was a question over here? Or Faith, do you have a question?
No, I know you're good. No, you're good. Thank you.
All right, so the hour power concept versus the $3 to $5 question, I would usually do them at the same time. Now, it really is like, once you learn this type of presentation, you might want to do ABC or, show them the 200,000, 150, or show them big cash value numbers. That's more like selling straight life insurance. What the company was founded on is the hour power concept. From the beginning, when people were, union members have dangerous jobs, like they could be on the side of a building, an iron worker, and they could fall and die. Like they're talking about 60 years ago, things weren't as safe, right? So you know what they would do? They would call pass the hat. Based off 1 hour wage, that's what this company was founded on with Bernard Rappaport, the hour power concept, to where they would set aside. But remember, they didn't have life insurance, but they died and they have a wife and kids. So every worker would pass 1 hour away in the construction hat. And that's how they would help, with the family. So that's what they found the hour power concept on, just helping the family. So 1 hour wage, we usually use $17, okay? So the hour power concept, we would say, okay, Joe, you work hourly? So someone that, more of a union guy, he's working $30 an hour or hourly wage. Some guy making salary, you're gonna be like, wait, so you could do the math for him if you really wanted to break what he earns into 3 to 5% it breaks down to. That's what this is, about 3 to 5%. That's what's pretty cool about it. That's usually about 1 hour wage. 1 hour to protect the other 39, or setting aside 3 to 5% of your net income, protect the other 95 to 97%. Make sense? So that's basically how you're getting the tie down on the price there. Okay, so I would say, Joe, you always give them the hour first. Now I'll say, Mary, you're sitting with Mary and Joe, or on Zoom with Mary and Joe, and you're like, okay. Now, Joe, let's say we were working together down at the shop, okay? Boss comes up to us, we work together, says, Joe, Casey, you got 2 of our best workers. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pay both of you 1 extra hour pay for that week. So we'd be pretty excited. We'd be like, okay, probably though, we're not gonna come home and say, hey, Mary, honey, let's plan the dream vacation to Mexico we always wanted to go on. And I'm actually gonna buy a brand new truck this week because I got 1 extra hour pay. I would ask them, Mary or Joe, would we do that? I'd be like, no, that'd be amazing if we could. Unlucky. Now on the flip side, Joe, boss comes up to us and says, you guys are great. Unfortunately, things here today at the factory were a little bit slower today. So we're going to have to send Joe and Casey, you guys home 1 hour early. We get to head out instead of 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock today. But on your paycheck, you're only going to earn 39 hours on that week. Might be, look, it might be a bit upset. You probably are not going to come home, Joe, my guess, to Mary and say, Mary, dear, cancel Netflix today. We have to cancel the gym memberships to Planet Fitness today because I lost 1 hour pay this week. Would we do that? Probably not what they're trying to say. So what they're trying to say, they're going to set that one, what most members are doing, and what most members are doing, they're setting aside the minimum, setting aside that 1 hour for your family, the most important thing too. Does that make sense? You see how you just tied them down on 1 hour that there's no way you tell me you can't afford it. You can compare it to Starbucks. You can add things in there. So you lost 1 hour wage, Joe and Mary, right? You're not going to have to ride the scooter to work now because you can't afford gas. Or you can even say eat ramen noodles the rest of the week. So when I say you're going to have to eat ramen noodles the rest of this week, all right, Joe? Like, no, okay. So you're getting the tie down on price. So you're not going to tell me you can't afford this program when I get to the end of this sheet here, pretty much. Okay, so once you got the price down, and I might even use my calculator at that point. I love showing them my calculator on the screen. And this is what it's going to be. Like a minute, it's going to be this $175. So, you know what I mean? I'm kind of showing that the national recommendation. This is what most people have, the national recommendation for your income situation. Do you ever have, and I might proactively before that, I'll probably hit them with the financial advisor, that whole situation, build that up to where I'm basically your financial advisor now for free, and I'm getting you this.
I have a question now.
Yeah.
So when do you start this hour power? Would this be after like term and whole or before, after needs and masses?
Well, it could be after. It's a 2-job close. Up to this point, you went through your whole presentation, whole verse term, however you want to do that. You know, but this is your $3 to $5 question, the hour power. So you got the price objection handled. And now, because of all those concerns, where you do the freedom of choice. In our slide is where the freedom of choice will pop up. We could pop up this part because the freedom of choice is right in here. You're just nailing these things home. During the four chart on most of our slides, where we go over funeral fund expense, income, mortgage protection, and child education or debt. Like this is our labor advisory board's list of concerns. So you're just selling the shit out of the problem. You're like creating the worst problem, the major concerns of the groups we work with, that they have no other ulterior motive but to protect their members' best interest. Okay, so you guys see how that works?
So like after you make them pick which one's the most important?
Yeah, what sticks out to you? Oh, income protection, Mary, that's what all the wives say. I completely agree. And funeral permanent coverage, that's what most members say because you're smart like you, Joe, want to save your money, have a guaranteed saving, da, 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 da. So because of all these concerns that we just created, problems that we just created for you, now here's your solution. Now I'm the man coming through with the plan and your solution, Joe. And it's amazing how they lined up with all the problems we just created. Isn't that ridiculous? You're like, okay, we just created all of these problems, and now I have all your solutions right here. For guess what? For the price you just told me you definitely could afford, because you figured out the math while your trainee was going over the discount card. And collect referrals. While they were getting referrals in there, you were doing the math on all this shit. So whether it was the ABC or what you're going to show them, that's why I like to be able to, help train people, because if they're going through the rapport or something, you could be able to get a game plan on getting the ABC, what we're going to go over with them. When I was a brand new agent, I always had my 2 options already written out, like before I got to their home. You know what I mean? Whether they were tobacco or non-tobacco use, I at least had something that I was going to pull out of my bag in case I just got to talking about his deers and he showed me a race card in the back. I had something I could pull out. After I went over everything, I knew I had a game plan of his age, tobacco, non-tobacco, ABC, or potentially what I would have my ABC built into this for 2 hours. Most guys in your situation, we're setting aside 2 hours. So he's making $32 an hour. Now you did your math when your training was going over it. Now for your situation, we're setting aside 2 hours since you're making, I had a guy, the best 2 job I had, $95 an hour. I was so pumped. He was an operating engineer in Philly, $95 an hour. And he sent me to his 5 buddies. I wrote 6,000 ALP one day. It was like April 27th, year ago. That was a fun day because of catch-up referrals. You see, when you have a good group like the operating engineers and you collect 10 catch-up referrals and you put them in your impact, it's like 10 leads that are making $95 an hour. You can show those 2.
Wait, sorry, I don't know if I just missed this. How do you figure out they're making $95 an hour?
You ask them
Oh, so you ask them
in
and
the
then.
rapport,
okay.
you get a lot of, are you getting a lot of overtime, Joe, like a lot of the guys? You getting a lot of overtime with that time and a half? What do you make, if you don't mind me asking, are you hourly, I mean, really in the beginning, during that needs analysis portion, let me ask you, Joe. Ballpark, they always have me ask, what's your monthly take home pay ballpark after taxes? Yes. Okay, 35. And then you can say, okay, you work, is that hourly or salary? We make about 35 an hour. Great. That's a lot of guys. We work a lot of guys over, get a lot of overtime. If you're sitting with a guy last week, you might already talk to him about what he was making. You wouldn't want to say, hey, Joe makes 42 an hour. Okay. So because of all those concerns, what they've created now, Joe, we're back to the situation now, back to the hour power concept. Remember we worked together, Joe? Joe, we're back into work on Monday, and we go back to work, and we see on the job board with all the other job postings, here's the job board up here, and all the job postings, and, you know, we see this enhanced job is posted. Marissa called it the certified job. That was pretty cool. I was like, or you can call it, this is your enhanced certified job. So this is your enhanced jobs posted. Now we're looking at the job board, all the other job postings. Now we noticed that with this current job, currently, we're making $687 for the week. Okay. Now we noticed this enhanced job, and this is a good verbiage you have to use here. Write this down. You're bringing in 670. Pretty close to the same, right, Joe? This is a good tie down. Pretty close to the same, right, Joe? Exactly. But with this enhanced job, you realized that you are getting all of these additional benefits. You know, you can say mortgage or whatever it is over here, college, debt, whatever you realize, you identified their target concerns, areas that they like, that stuck out to them. You definitely want to have those over here for sure. So you get all these additional benefit programs that fill in the gaps, you know, of our current coverages. And the way it works, so you're going to fill it in. And now you're going back and forth, solving all their problems. So the first concern that we touched on was the Head Start program. They wanted to make sure that your two beautiful children, that number one, they both had the Head Start programs guaranteed with that GIO, not G.I. Joe, GIO, guaranteed insurability option. That guarantees that your children are insured for the rest of their entire lives for up to $150,000. They get to choose up at 6 different periods of their lives. No medical questions, and they get to get access to these great permanent benefits. Even if, God forbid, they had cancer, they can actually complete this program for their future family. Isn't that amazing? Of course it is. Next, that guarantees their insurability. And I know most parents and grandparents don't love guaranteeing their future family's insurability. Wouldn't you agree? Of course you would. Who would not agree to that? So those are tie downs throughout the presentation that you have to say. Does that make sense, Joe Mary? That's why I say that makes sense a lot, because there's a tie down. You want them saying yes the entire time you're going through this. That way, when it gets down here to get the check, guess what they're saying? Account routing, no problem. That's why, you don't want to be saying no the whole time. I had a lady one time, I'll never forget, the whole time I'm having a trainee with me and I'm like trying to go over this stuff. You want them shaking their head the whole time, she's going like this. I'm like, you don't want your lady doing that in the presentation. That's why you want to kind of collect referrals, run through the system, get to the next person, because if they don't like you, if you're not making them laugh, if they're not into it a little bit, if they're not receptive listening, you can't sell them. You know what I mean? So if they're not paying attention, how can I sell you? How can I sell you on this? So that's why I would not waste time with people that are like, you want to do one legs, people that have to be there, because you know what's gonna happen at the end. All right, so back to it. So over here, currently, the big thing, you're going over to the current situation over here and showing them, look, you don't have this over here. Currently, with that freedom of choice, they wanted to make sure that you at least had the inflation, which is gonna be $60,000 on your freedom of choice, or the 30, or, and actually I put the 100 or whatever I wanted to kind of add in there. It's gonna show them 30, minimum of 30. Obviously, it's gonna have 30 on there for your freedom of choice. But if you put 2 hours, it might be 100, whatever you want to put. Over here, now this is where the major concern was. You're $15,000 in the negative. And when do they want that? Once again, Joe, they want that. If you die Monday, the funeral director wants that probably Thursday. So that's going to be what you call burdened on your family. Okay. Now, what was recommended? You remember the last national recommendation, the major concern? You might hit them with the paycheck protection, because Joe, when you die, it's like a financial heart attack. When your heartbeat stops, your paycheck stops with it. You know, a lot of people throughout the years, they've unplugged the cable, but you can't unplug that. So that's your paycheck. So that's why they recommended 5 years of your income, because this is you, Joe. You are the financial heartbeat of the family. Without you, you know, you can go on the paycheck close. You know, you could do all that at the end. So you're a $1 billion asset to your family. Because you could say, let me ask you, you can get right into the close after that. If you're like, I can't afford it, let me ask you, how much you pay for your cell phone? $125, that's not too bad. How much you pay cards? Without you, there is no cell phone, there is no car insurance, there is no income. So what I'm gonna do for you, see if you can even qualify. And then the big thing after you go through each of these over here, if you paint the picture for his income, you're making 50 grand a year, and you would have died only 2 years ago. If you're like most of the members, most working Americans, how much do you have saved in your savings right now? Like $500. That's what we're seeing a lot, because especially with children, things are so expensive. So they wanted to make sure, because if you died 2 years ago and you're making 50 grand a year, your family would already have been out $100,000. Your income is something that is so powerful that if you died 3 years ago, now your family's down $150,000. So you see how your income's important? Of course you do, because that's why it recommends at least the 3 years. And the big one that your children were so important to you that they wanted to make sure that if something happened prematurely and you were taken out of the picture prematurely, that the college education fund and the extra mortgage, and if I'm having an accident, that would be wiped out. So that's over $250,000. That's almost it's under $500,000 of protection that your family would need. So pretty much a no-brainer, Joe. If you had the choice to protect your family's financial future for the 1 hour you told me earlier, it was definitely comfortable for you. But just like this sheet here at the top says, you know, which job would you take? You would take even though you're making $17 more a week over here, you're gonna pick the enhanced job today. Let's get your driver's license so you see if you can qualify. You know, that's the best close there is. That's a one-step close. He picked the enhanced job. He's getting this program. Isn't that amazing? Right to page 2 of the application. That's really all you have to do. No more talking. People talk themselves out of deals. Let me tell you what. No, get the application filled. That's called assuming the sale. Get to page 2. Get the driver's license. Give them the coverage on the beneficiary very quickly. Get through the application. Make them give you the doctor's information. And give it to the beneficiaries, and that's done. That's assuming the sale. I feel like at this point, people talk sometimes you want to get through this as quick as possible, get them to pick that and get to page 2. Any questions on that stuff? So that's the basics of it. And it's just on a concept to where they're picking the enhanced job, they're getting right to the application. The great thing is they pick it every single time. You know what I mean? There's no way. And if they do, they pick the current job, I'm like, here you go. Here's your program. Call me if you need, you might have a person that realize like they, you have some jerks out there or something that maybe think I'm good. I got State Farms.
Casey. So how you get the numbers at the top for currently in like enhanced job? Is that like their monthly income, and then you put that as
Weekly. That's weekly.
weekly? Okay.
That's weekly because we told them this is, and oh wait, I forgot the most important thing. In the beginning, I would tell them to write a big 17 because that's that 1 hour he told me earlier definitely does not make a difference either way. So that I like this presentation for someone honestly that really does not know what life insurance is, or someone that is against life insurance is telling you, I'm not buying shit, I'm not buying nothing. Maybe just like they don't have, and this could really open their eyes to the concept, and like really that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's just a different concept. You're selling it on a concept of them getting this enhanced job, and that's what they're selling. You're getting them anyway. It's just that it's explained in a way better way than
you. Like if they already have a policy with like State Farm, when do you like pull that from them and go over it with them or feed it up or?
Yeah, well, that's why I don't do this every time. This is just like a tool in your toolbox to where if they're pulling the policy to the table, I mean, yeah, you can't do this every time actually. I mean, but I don't, but I just pull it out. You can do this on a POS too, which is great. You could say, okay, this is what a lot of members were enrolling in this program you have. You could go over the 2 job, what they're making, and then say, this is what you currently have. You have only 8,000 of the freedom of choice, which is half of the current cost. And you don't have, which a lot of members love was the income protection. So this is what's great because a lot of people like to sell whole life around here. And that's sort of presentations designed to with the best rates. So if you sit with a POS a year from now and they have 100,000 and they great program, you're building the cash guaranteed savings plan. But now we can add to their income protection, get them a little more term that guarantees their income protection on top of protecting their funeral and final expenses forever and guarantee savings plan, all that stuff. I love it though. I love the 2 jobs. This is what I started with. I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have Tommy and we had a presentation binder, a rate book, and a freedom of choice. And we had to draw on these. I had to print these off and I drew over these all day. Just like, that's why I like to draw on the web board on the Zoom, because that just feels like I'm drawing on this thing, talking about this stuff, going over the buckets, drawing the buckets. That's what I did on paper though. I flipped this over. That was my whole first term. The buckets then roll right into the ABC. But juggling all that, and that's why you guys like it home, because it's really easy to connect with them. But having the stuff ready and being polished to where you can get it done on the Zoom and have it ready and you're keeping their attention and all these things. I like it home too, but I don't like driving around the state. I like both. I'm going to be real with you. I do miss going out in the field with home. Like sometimes it's fun and you can really it's your show for that hour. That's why I love being in a home. They can't distractions, and you can really go over something like this really good with them, and if they're both paying attention. Let's see here. I have an interview. We got any other questions? Hopefully.
Yeah, I just want to know, like when you're going through the 4 concerns, whether you
hold on, speak up. I can't really hear you.
Okay. So when you're going through the 4 concerns, whether it's the current job and enhanced job method, or just on the presentation, when you're going through each concern, are you putting it specifically to their situation, or this is just what most members This is why it's set up for most
Well,
of them.
probably a little bit of both. I would say what I normally would say, the list of concerns, whether, there's list of concerns, if you look into the areas you, archive, there's lists of, or our basic script, there's a couple versions of the list of concerns, just adding extra points, concerns on top of there. Where the major concerns, you're setting the stage for what you're about to sell. You're creating a problem. These were the major concerns, and during the list of concerns, I'm also building up the company a lot, saying, hey, we work not only your group, but we work with the NFL Players Association, the police, the firefighters, electrical workers, operating engineers, over 20,000 different groups pick us over any other company for almost 100 years to handle these programs. So building it up is huge in the beginning. At that point of the list of concerns, I remind them about it. That kind of answer your question. Yeah, but I would tailor it to their needs. And a lot of times I liked, you could do it right. I've seen them do at that pie chart. Some agents were actually figured out right then and there that their current need, where you can almost do this on a needs analysis portion and figure out exactly what they would need, explaining it kind of like, with the concept. But the reason I love it, because it's a one-step close, they pick it every time. So there's no question you're moving forward with something. Even if it's a head starts on the kids, oh, you want to think, but the main thing, just like I went over with you before in the very beginning, I can't come back. So at least what I'm going to do for you is get your foot in the door with Mary and the kids. That way I'm allowed to come back. Make sense? Driver's license, of course it does. Just need a routing. And holy smokes. I ripped my shirt yesterday. I don't know how he did it. It's probably something like that. I wore the Vino polo to three times. It ripped all the way down here. I think I'm going to put my pen in too aggressively. I'm going to rip the whole center portion down. After a non-sale, I was like, I think I went like that. Rip the thing down. So I had to get a new polo.
So what if they're not currently working right now and they have no hourly wage or?
No hourly wage. I would definitely go basic foot in the door program. Or they get unemployment. They want to guarantee their insurability. If they're on someone, maybe what I really love about our paycheck protection and the 10-year RNC is that you put it with, if you want to adjust down, put it with $1,000 a whole life. That way it gets in the best rate. And also if you ever would convert it, your agent or someone comes and converts that when they can afford it or they go back to work, you get locked in at the highest renewal as if you sold them that whole life. So that's what's great about our companies, that if they ever would convert it, you're getting locked in for life, paid lifetime renewals and building an asset for the rest of your life, and you're helping them out. Best part, you're guaranteeing their insurability rather than selling them $10,000 a whole life. Now, if he died, he got $90,000 a paycheck or $100,000 a paycheck protection, then you're able to just convert it with no medical questions to a $100,000 policy that he wanted in the first place. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. What if you sold someone $100,000 renewable and convertible, say for mortgage protection or something, and then down the road when they get older, or say their mortgage is about to get, I don't know, paid off, or even their loss of income is about something changes within those 10 years, and they only want to convert 30,
they can convert whatever amount they want.
Okay, so they can convert. They don't have to convert the whole 100,000.
They don't have to. They can leave a balance or they can drop the balance.
Okay.
Whatever they choose. Yep. But the best part, if they have a heart attack or they go on some medications or had cancer, they can at least get a permanent policy for their family because if they didn't do it otherwise, they wouldn't be able to.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
What do you guys got for me? Any other hardwood you're running into? Hard rebuttals?
But if they say they already have everything taken care of, as far as they've already paid for everything, they have money set aside, everything like that.
I love when they do that. And
Like
that's
at the
amazing.
end.
Great job. Great job. I'm sure you guys have phenomenal coverage, and that's just part of it. I can't tell you how long I've been doing this and thousands of members where they told me, unfortunately, that they did have great coverage, and maybe it was the agent's fault, or maybe whoever's fault was, but they turned out after we went through everything, they realized that it wasn't whole life they had, but they had universal whole life, and it was completely different. And they ended up getting a bill if they didn't pay $500 a month. Their policy was going to lapse and they were going to lose all their coverage. So very important. I've seen this countless times that while I'm out here, go ahead and grab it. That way we can at least make sure you have a guarantee for your family. If it takes 5 minutes, it'll save us an hour. So go ahead and grab it, please. So we know if you have it for your family. Because you didn't know what you had, remember? Grab it. Yeah, you got to tell them to go ahead and grab it because they're not going to want to get it. It's in a lockbox. Of course it is. Well, if something happened to you, we would have to get it immediately. So if we can't get it now, how will we get it when your family desperately needs it?
Right, Jerry?
So you have to, if it takes 5 minutes, or I'll tell you what I can do. You know, we can definitely, we're really booked up. I can, you really don't want to, you want to have them get it then. But if there's something to where you need that policy or they're not moving forward at all, definitely at least reschedule for the next day or two because time is going to kill you. I would not. You want to have them get it done immediately if it's something that, or find out what it is. And that's what I would do, or tell them what it is, basically. If they're paying $12 a month and they have $200,000, I'm telling them it's accidental or definitely term. You know what I mean? Because there's no way, if it's not anywhere nearly close to our rates, it would be impossible for it to be permanent. So that's something you can take that avenue, or you don't ever want to sound unsure or say, yeah, that's maybe something, or if you want, you'll find out how much do you have if you died. What's the face amount? Oh, it's $100,000. You're paying $8 for it. It's through the bank or credit union. Definitely accidental. Who's it through? Company. That can tell you what it is. Primerica is always term. You know, State Farm can be a small whole life, or it can be some term as well. Usually, it could be a flexible with State Farm, or but certain companies, like, for sure, if you sit with a Primerica, you're battling someone that's like the opposite of our beliefs in a sense. Like we guarantee a permanent for the member. They're like, we love term, get an investment. I'm like, okay. And Marissa and I had a great battle with this girl. She was but she is really crazy. And that's like Dave Ramsey and all these things. So you'll run into these people that are like, Dave Ramsey, all this. It's not a guarantee. And people in our demographic, our market need to have a guarantee. You know what I mean? It's a guarantee for them. So they don't either have the means to set them up to be perfectly invested financially, to compete with inflation. So this is going to give them, the best type of coverage. And if you're thinking about 20,000 and 20,000 financial advisors and 20,000 unbiased opinion versus your guy, I'm sure he's a great guy, really knows his stuff. But you're talking about the opinions of 20,000 financial advisors versus your guy. When's the last time you talked to him? 7 years ago? You don't even know him. I'm going to take really good care of your family. You almost got to take that as like an insult, right? Oh, you never even talked to your last guy? So you're stuck. We're going to get a guarantee for your family. And I'll be there for you whenever anybody would ever. They want to hear that you're going to be there for them, that if something happens to them, you're going to go bat for them. Anything else? Any other tough ones you were getting?
Do you know much about USAA?
USAA, like the commercial, it can be good, decent coverage. I ran into a couple of USAs. It can be, comparable. The USAA can have some, decent coverage to where they're not going to have a freedom of choice. We're going to beat them on rates, I would think. But if it's, that's a military program, it's going to be, I'm not sure really what terms of they're going to have mostly, but it's, obviously tied to the group. You'll run into a lot more than USAA, in my experience, for SGLIs and VGLIs. which is the serviceman's group life insurance and the veterans group life insurance, where if they served and, there's great when you can't beat a SGLI. It's 400,000 while you're currently active. No one's ever going to beat that. But the VGLI is great to have, but it's basically a term that goes down and then it ends up disappearing. So it's good to have. It's better than nothing for obviously veterans that did a great job, but that's why they need our freedom of choice and something permanent.
Would it be good, since most of ours are virtual, to have like a document with the enhanced job on there and just be able to add in, their
Yes,
specific
and that's
information to be able to
exactly
pull up?
That's exactly what Marissa and I were talking about. Is call to action. Whoever's the best at PowerPoint, we can scan this over. We have some nice blue copies of these, and you can see who can get the smoothest kind of best looking PowerPoint to kind of run through this, run it by Tommy, and to see if it's something that makes sense to have an option to do that. Like, I'm gonna call this play, because it may be good for one client or maybe better for somebody else. But it's definitely better to have an option to run through it, and it's just, it makes it easy, and they pick it, and my handwriting's terrible. I'm sure face would be all neat. Should have some better. Any other questions for us? Good job, guys. Anything else?
Just
One more
question. Yeah, this all sounds good, this 1 hour, but I gotta put all those hours towards my home. I'm buying a home in a few
I
months.
completely understand, because we have programs for half an hour, so just get your driver's license and I'll show you.
Okay.
I have a question, you can't hear me. When we get into the cash value, there is some gray area in my mind where my gray matter is. So we have the value of the face value of the policy. We tell them a 4.5% guaranteed, they're gonna build this cash. Now, I know that when they pass away, I believe that the family or the beneficiary only gets whatever the face value
Face amount is.
and the corporation keeps the cash.
Well, the cash is just the value. That's basically surrender value. If say they turn 65 and they just want to say, hey, I just want the $7,000 back, that's when they can do what they want. Or let's say years go by, this is how we explain it to the clients. So, years go by and your roof goes, transmission goes, you can actually reach into there and use that, if need be. Does that make sense?
So they can use it as the paid up option?
Yeah, you want to build it up to the clients. It's giving you flexibility to make a good decision. You don't want to tell them really to take their cash out unless they really need to. Or they turn 65 and maybe their investments are built up. They don't have as much of a need. They hit the lottery, whatever the situation is, that they have options to take that X amount. That's why I show them guaranteed at 65 what that cash is.
And it's flexible. That word that you said in there is flexible.
We good to
That's
go?
the key word.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, I gotta turn off. I got people waiting on another one for everybody. Great job today, guys. We have a big weekend ahead as well.
Thank
Great job, Kay.
Wait.